Hey, good afternoon. Good evening. The afternoon passed. Good evening. Welcome to Urban Facts. I'm your host, Eamon Hotep Parker. It is Thursday, February the 2nd, and we are about to start our show. Before we get started, we just want to dedicate the show to Mr. Tyree Nichols, a young man that was brutally beaten by Minneapolis police. This senseless crime has definitely, I would say, changed the capacity of how we view things in regards to black crime, in regards to police interaction. So we just want to dedicate the show to him. I didn't see it as robbery to do so. Also, let me see if I can get my little picture back in here. We want to give an update on my kid's grandmother, Miss Victoria Martin. She is conscious from the updates that I've been given. So that's definitely a definite praise report. And we thank God for this journey and the process. And we know God will definitely keep the family in prayer in regards to her situation. So, as I stated, the show is dedicated to Mr. Nichols. We have some updates in regards to the case. So let's get into there. So the 5 police officers, that's these guys right here, that are responsible for Mr. Nichols' case, like I said, they are black. So with this scenario being different, I would say hopefully it would be a different outcome. In regards to when the incident happened, Mr. Nichols, being transported to the hospital, brutally beaten, that definitely gave a rise to the police commissioner of Memphis, and she immediately fired these men right here. These guys really couldn't even come up with justification of why Mr. Nichols was stopped. And it really sets us back as a community. It's the same thing I said when Will Smith smacked Chris Rock. It puts a blemish on the black community when we see, events like this take place. Because now we're saying that we're not only a threat, we're not only have to be aware of white police brutality, but also black. It's not also just that. We got Asian and Hispanic. It's been different races. We're basically just a target for the police force. And my daughter was telling me one day, this is just white supremacy just going on, within the police force. And what she was saying is that these people, being as though they're in their position of power, believe that, they can do what they believe is just because they have a badge. And that is definitely not true at all. It's a sad thing, and at this particular point in time, I can't even say, do what you can to be safe out in the streets, because of as of right now, that's not even working. And I'm not trying to scare anyone, but I just pray that our black men and women are very safe out there, and God keeps His hands on them in regards to their well-being. So, um, today, oh, also there was a sixth and seventh police officer. This is the seventh one, Officer Hemful. He was at the first scene, but he wasn't at the second scene, and he had some interesting comments in regards to how Mr. Nichols should be treated once the other officers, detained him. So that definitely he was put on administrative leave, which is, I was going to say that would be kind of odd, but it's not, because he's white. And I'm not being racist at all, but that's just the society that we're in. Like I said, is in regards to white privilege, he wasn't immediately fired, due to this event. But enough about that. Also, Mr. Nichols' funeral was yesterday. You can go on YouTube. You can stream it. Travis Nichols' funeral. It was a definite wonderful event in regards to a wonderful young man. So the purpose of why I'm here, I'm interviewing this young lady right here, Miss Amaiyah-Monet Bonnie Parker. She is a Central High School senior, and she is our youth director at the Ethel Lee Zachary Foundation. Like I said, Amaiyah is a senior at Central. She is the director here at the Ethel Lee Zachary Foundation for the Youth. She also is a volunteer at another organization called We Reign. She does a lot of community activism in regards to gun violence, things of that sort. She's currently on her way, not currently like physically, but she has accepted her I guess admissions to George Mason. She's been accepted to quite a few other colleges such as Temple. She texted me the rest. I don't want to make a mistake. Temple, MUBC, University of Maryland. Oh, well, no, not Xavier. Morgan State and Clark Atlanta. When I started this foundation, I really tried to avoid, making a big deal out of my kids, but oh well. If they doing good, they doing good. If I'm celebrating youth, then they youth. I can't help it if they my kids. Tell y'all kids step their game up. Then we can recognize them too. I'm not trying to be funny, because we're here to do just that. We want to cultivate and educate these children so that they can have acceptances from other colleges and see that they also have a brighter future. So we're going to be putting her on in just a minute. I just want to make sure that the audio is correct. All right, let me see here. Maya, can you hear me? All right. All right, so without further ado, I will be bringing on Miss Amaiyah-Monet Bonnie Parker. Hey, Amaiyah.
Hey, Dad.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. So did I mess up any of your any of your school selections there? I tried
Yes,
my best not to.
yes, but it's no big deal. Most of the schools I didn't hear back from, so like
Oh,
Xavier,
okay.
but I really don't care because Xavier keeps emailing me about sending my SAT scores over, but I'm not too worried about that. My heart is set on going to George Mason. So
All right, all right. So, um, tell us a little bit about your childhood. Like, how did you come up as a person, as a young lady?
um it's kind of funny talking about this to my dad, but let's see. I grew up in my childhood. I had two parents who were very my parents were strict. Um but they were strict in a way. It wasn't like it was just for no reason. At the time, of course, I thought it was for no reason cuz like
Mhm.
why can't I go outside to play? But like it was, like, a reason for everything, like, who I could and couldn't, like, surround myself with certain, like of course, like, at 8 or 9 years old, like, no kid should be watching reality TV or, like, staying up all night watching TV or, like, on their phone, stuff like that. But in the moment, I didn't realize that. So, of course, there was, like, rules and things like that. My mom was very big on education. Well, my dad was too, but my dad was more so more so African American history, and my mom was education all around. So before me and my sisters went to kindergarten, we had these books, and they were like smart Alec books, and it was like a little mouse on it. And basically my mom would just make us do a couple pages a day, and we learned how to like write our names before going to school. Um Not to toot our own horn, so we were pretty smart. Not I give that to my mom because she knew what she was doing. Um um Something else about my childhood. My I believe that my parents raised us well, and we learned from my parents whatever like mistakes they made. We learned from them, and um we also learned from our own mistakes. My parents, they taught us like based on the things that we did wrong, like discipline and stuff like that. So,
Mhm.
for example, I remember one time I was little and my dad didn't like me touching our TV, and I got my butt beat, but I never touched that TV again. And it just goes to say like certain things, like of course there's like it's just like consequences for every action.
Right.
Um I grew up in a Christian household as well. Um, that was something like praying every night, reading the Bible, and having my own relationship with God. So, like, not feeding off of like what my parents had with God, but building my own connection with Him. And like I said, African American history. My dad used to make me and my sister um read these history books, and it was like I remember one of them was like a thick textbook like that, and it was a hardcover, and we had to read it or like pick like a person out of it and then
Mhm.
like write a little bit about it and then give it to my dad, or he would ask us questions. And I remember Ambrielle would always get the same question. She would get, "What's Kemet?" And she would never know the answer. Every single time, she would never know the answer. But yeah, that was my childhood.
Mhm.
It was, it was pretty, I would say pretty similar to many other Black girls' childhoods, as I've found out,
Right.
talking to the Black girls in the community, pretty similar. My parents did divorce later in
Mhm.
my childhood. That did impact me, but I
Mhm.
learned to grow from it and to help other kids actually who kind of right now are going through the same process in my school,
Right.
because they think it's the end of the world, just like I thought it was the end of the world, but it's not.
Mhm.
Your parents will bust on each other later in life, and it'll be funny. So
So With your parents being divorced, um, I guess you coming up in a single parent household. What was your support system like through, elementary school, to high school?
My support system was God, my mom, and I had a amazing teacher. Of course, I had like let me just say this first, but I had an amazing teacher from third grade to I think she left in seventh grade, but everything that she instilled in me, I still take it, and it's Miss Odom. I love Miss
Mhm.
Odom to death. And when my parents were going through the divorce, she was there for me. I came to school one day, I was so upset because I thought like you're a child, you think it's the end of the world. I thought it was the end of the world.
Right.
But I came to school, I was upset, and Miss Odom, she prayed with me, she listened to gospel music with me. She wasn't like a I'm a sugarcoat this for you type of person either, but she also wasn't like I'm gonna be mean to you. She was like she gave you what you needed to hear.
Uh,
My mom is still my support system now. Like, I don't know if I would even be here if it wasn't for my mom. My mom is a very strong woman. So, and then God, of course, God is first. Um, because like every single opportunity, even every single defeat I've been able to experience because of God, and it's made me a better person because of God. And of course I have other support systems like my parents. You need to have your parents as a support system even if they aren't like your main support system, but your parents should be one of your support systems. My friends, um some of them, and my sisters, yeah.
okay. Um, what are your feelings in regards to being a young African American female in the inner city?
Mm, what are my feelings to being a young African American female in the inner city? I actually never even looked at it like that. I just looked at it as the opportunities that I have um to be a change agent in my city. I never like I realized the like intersectionality that I have to go through and things like that, but I don't I feel a lot of people I know would answer this question was saying like I feel scared because of like the violence that's going on, but I actually feel determined because if there's no when there's problems, you can always find a solution. And with that being said, being an African American in an inner city empowers me because I'm surrounded by so much things to change, so many things and systems that are trying to hold me down that are actually lifting me up because like Shirley Chisholm once said, if they don't give you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair. And to every system that has tried to block me out, I have been bringing my folding chair. So it's empowering being a black um, girl in the inner city because there's so much opportunity when you include yourself in those conversations in at the table.
Now, with the you've done a march in regards to gun violence a couple years ago in October, um, and you mentioned and bringing the folds and chair to these conversations. What about the aspect that some of these youth aren't even prepared to even go to these conversations? Like, how does that make you feel as being a youth yourself?
Um, I definitely know the feeling because when I first started doing advocacy work, I was around I think I was like 13 or 14 years old, and it was just something small like attending like a I think it was like a conference,
Mm.
but I still consider that advocacy work because you're putting yourself out there. Um, attended a conference and I didn't feel like that I had the power or the voice to say anything, to answer any questions, to ask a question, to raise a statement, anything like that. So I sat in the back. But I want to say what happens is when you sit in the back, you don't give your you give your power to someone else because you have power. So, um, to the youth who feel like that they aren't included in a conversation, or the conversation isn't for them, or that there isn't space for them, there's always space for you and the conversation is for you. And if you aren't included in the conversation, include yourself. Like, something that a lot of people don't know is that the city, like the government works for you, and the city council people, they're very open. Like, you can go, you can make yourself, you can present yourself to them, present your demands to them. So as a youth, I would say, like, don't be discouraged by your age and um your lack of ability, I guess, because like everyone has to start somewhere. So like not knowing what to say or not knowing what to do is normal, because I like sometimes I still don't know what to say or do, because it's normal. Like, we're all growing, but it's all about showing up, because when you show up, that shows the people that you actually care, and that these youth in Philadelphia really want us to change this issue, or these youth in Philadelphia are really do care about gun violence, are really impacted by the affordable housing crisis. These youth in Philadelphia are really impacted by the lack of resources for educate for quality education. These youth in Philadelphia are really impacted by the budget that we set on recreation centers. These youth in Philadelphia are really impacted by not enough green spaces in their communities. So when you show up, is enough for them to recognize that you're impacted by the system.
Now, tell us a little bit about your, I guess, your transition going from, well, preparing yourself from high school going into college. Like, what was the process like? To prepare yourself to college and being accepted to, the few schools that you were selected to.
Um, I would say thankfully I go to Central High School. So, um, I didn't really have that much of a transition. Well, I'm not in college yet, but the transition is similar to the one that I took from middle school to high school, because Central is so college preparatory. But to the youth out there who are, of course, seniors transitioning to high school to college, one thing I would say is to become organized. Like, I created I was gonna try to pull it up, but it's gonna take too long. But I created a list on my phone, and it's like a note spreadsheet of like colleges, like emails and passwords that I set up to like get into my accounts for them, acceptances, wait lists, schools I didn't hear back from yet, things like that. Be organized, manage your time wisely. Um, don't let senioritis get to you, because some schools do want mid-year grades, and if your mid-year grades are bad, they probably will defer your acceptance. Another thing that I will say is make sure that you stay in touch with your counselors, because sometimes things within the system of your schools, like I was just saying earlier, how Xavier didn't get my SAT scores. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes things don't get sent. Letters of recommendation might get lost, things like that. So
Mm-hmm.
you want to stay in touch with your counselor. You do want to continue to do like the work that you do, like if you play on the sports team, if you do community work, things like that. Don't get lazy per se. Continue to like make it to that finish line. Um this is around the time where I would say is a perfect time to start looking at grants and scholarships. Um that's what I've been doing.
Mm-hmm.
Um because college is not free. You also can look at loans. I don't want, like, personally, that's not something that I'm looking into loans. I am
Mm-hmm.
looking into like grants and scholarships. It's nothing wrong with a loan at all. Um, but yeah, that's what I would say. And another thing is if you did apply regular decision, then you should be checking your email regularly because they should be getting back to you between like now and March to Aprilish. So it's all about being organized, and I know it's very hard, but for real, get a planner. Stay in touch with your teachers, with your counselors, your parents. Keep your parents up to date on the things that are going on. Make sure that you look at deadlines because there's when you get accepted into the college, that's not the end of it. There's
Mhm.
deadlines for like when you have to pay, deadlines for like when you have to create your account by. Um, I would say another thing to do is watch videos of people talking about the school that you're interested in, and
Right.
watch videos of people talking about things that you'll need for college, and then start to create a list for that. On Amazon, you can create a wish list, and you can send it to like your family and stuff, and I'm pretty sure they'll be happy to help you buy
Mhm.
the things that you need for college, like book bags and like wipes and things of that sort. But yeah, stay organized. Stay organized. All of the things that I said fall underneath the category of being organized. And it definitely is hard because I'm not the most organized person myself either. But I would definitely say stay organized. Stay on top of your schoolwork. Um, Yes, and also prioritize your mental health. Don't get stressed out because when you get stressed out, that's when you stop being organized. It's
Mhm.
important to take care of you before you take care of anything else because that way everything else falls in line. So spend some time with yourself, read a book, turn your phone off, turn social media off for a little bit, you know, and just like really reflect.
Now tell us about your work in the nonprofits that you currently are involved with.
Um The first nonprofit that I ever worked with is We Rain. Um, that is a nonprofit that is dedicated to empowering Black girls. So, if you want to learn more about We Rain, you can look up We Rain on Google and go to their website and learn more. I do recommend their programming. Um, I started working with them because they came to my school and they did a workshop there, and it was like I believe it was like rooting and empowering the girls nation because that's what the letters stand for, but I believe that's what the workshop was called. But since then I've been working with them. I started like a actual like advocacy program type of thing in ninth grade, and then from that point on I've been working with them, and that's when I got like all the cool opportunities to like do webinars and speak to senators and do research on different topics. Like something that I started focusing on was domestic violence, and then I s- I've shifted gears to gun violence after, which is also a domestic violence thing. So gender-based violence was my broad thing, domestic violence and then gun violence. But the next nonprofit that I worked with was at the Lee Zachary Foundation. Um, when my dad first got started, it was like little things like filing and paperwork and spreading the word, and something that I didn't want to do was put in the little pamphlet in people car windows. I didn't want to do that. But um yeah, it was definitely a process, and we fed the homeless. um I helped him with like future programming things. And we did our youth summit in August, which to me for our first one was very successful. um we did a trip to the movies to see Emmett or Till. That was also successful in my opinion. um Multiple toy drives. So yeah. Um and now the one that I worked with, I think I think that Herb Ed is a nonprofit organization, but that organization is dedicated to working towards um, the education system, making sure that kids have quality and fair education resources, because there shouldn't be a reason why um it shouldn't be a reason why anyone in the private school should have more quality resources than someone who goes to a public school. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what Herb Ed focuses on. And right now I work with BOAT, which is a program that is dedicated to empowering grassroots leaders to create change in their
Mm-hmm.
community. So I would say we reign Bolt and Herb Ed is more like policy work, and Ethel Zachary is more community based work, getting your hands dirty type thing. So yeah, those are the nonprofits that I work for. Um, Another thing that I want to say is to the youth. There are opportunities to work with nonprofits like the ones that I named just now. They have like programs, and it's many different opportunities and programs for you to cater to like certain skill sets, and you get paid for doing it sometimes. So I would say definitely just like Google like opportunity programs in my neighborhood. Mostly the nonprofits are the ones that do pay you for doing the work. I feel like that it is a good stepping stool, especially for what you want to do further in life. Like I want to be a lawyer, so working with like the community and policy work makes sense. So I would definitely say something that I recommend is working with another organization based on what you want to do, so you can have that stepping stool and learning block for the future.
Okay, cool. Um, what is your 5 year plan?
My 5 year plan. So, first, I do want to go to George Mason. That's pretty obvious. Well, I think I should start with the summer. God willingly, I get this internship for to intern for District Attorney Larry. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, Kransner, but I've spoke with him today, so hopefully I do get that. Please pray. But that will be my first step. Then I will be transitioning to college. After that, I will be looking at law schools. I already started looking at law schools, but I will start applying and studying and things like that. Um, and I do really want to go to either Harvard Law or Howard Law. So that is 5 years. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Now, what's my other question here? I'm sorry. What positive advice would you give to today's inner city youth, not only in regards to like their education, but their culture, knowing who they are as a person?
Okay. I'm gonna give. I'm gonna touch on 5 things: education, friends, relationships, yourself, like culture, and then like spirituality. First with education, just that fast I forgot my 5 things, but I'm just going to give advice. Just for education, I would say to make sure that you stay on top of your schoolwork. Um this is really like the ground, like the foundation for you in the future. It is no lie when they say that, because the grades that you get in high school or the grades that you get in middle school determine what high school you go to. And the high school that you go to determines, sadly, the quality education that you get. And the grades that you get in high school determines the college that you go to. And that to me is very important
Can you, now
because
not to interrupt you, can you kind of elaborate on as far as like middle school, like what year are high schools looking at in regards to the grades?
okay, um high school looks at your 7th and 8th grade year. It's like the middle of your 7th grade year towards the end. But I would say just stay on top of your grades overall, like all the years, because it will be hard to just start picking up slack in the middle of your seventh grade year. Another thing that you want to do regarding your education is make sure that you ask for help if you need it. You can even email me. I could put my email in the comment section. But if it's parents on here and your kids need like tutoring or something, you can email me and I'll be willing to help for free. So don't be scared to ask for help. Don't be scared to raise your hand in class. Things like that. Um, that is detrimental to having a good education. Making sure that you understand. Um, so going from yeah, education is very important. And in the school, touching on your friends, you want to make sure that you surround yourself around people who are going the same way that you are. Of course, you're not going to always be around good people all the time, but you don't want your best friend to be someone who's like disrespectful, who smokes and parties and stays up late and gets bad grades in school, because you are who you hang around, and that's going to start to rub off on you. However, you do want to be a good influence to those around you. So I would say it is a balance, but soon as you realize that someone is having a negative impact on who you are as a person, you're going to want to cut them off. Relationships, I'm talking about like having a boyfriend or a girlfriend. It is distracting. I will tell you that. It is distracting. I have a boyfriend, but I did not get a boyfriend until my senior year. Um, well, the summertime. It is distracting. So I do recommend waiting until your senior year to get a boyfriend or a girlfriend or to get into a relationship, because you do want to make sure that junior year your grades are good, because that's really like all your high school year is what college looks at, but junior year is what they really narrow in on. So you don't want anyone to distract you, because a relationship is not all hugs and kisses. It's communication, and it takes a lot of hard work. So especially if it's like if you hope for like long term or something like that, it is hard work.
Now, what
Um
relations? I mean, what advice would you give to parents and youth in regards to establishing a relationship? I guess at any time frame in your young adult years. Well, your years as being a youth.
for parents, I would say to be straightforward with your kid. Let them know, like, hey, I had a boyfriend when I was 14, when I was 15 years old, and this is what happened to me. And they'll realize, or they'll look, hopefully, they'll learn from your mistake and be like, okay, well, I'm not going to do that right now. And if you decide to do that right now and you just make the same mistake as your parent, you can't say that they didn't warn you. I would say another thing for parents to do is to give advice when um your kids ask for it regarding relationships, because like kids do not know everything, even though sometimes we do. My parents, they do answer my questions regarding advice about my relationship, but I say it is very helpful. Youth, I would say listen to your parents. I was one who argued my dad down when he told me that I could not date until college, is what he said at first. And then he said 16, but I definitely do understand why. Like, you have a lot of things, when you have a lot of things going for you, or even if you don't, you really don't want anyone to steer you off of that path, because a lot of times we don't realize if people are good for us or if they're a good influence for us, because especially when you're in a relationship and a person may be good looking, you get so caught up in that good lookingness that you get distracted and you want to like be with them all the time. You stop doing your schoolwork and you start failing school and you stop showing up to work, things like that. So when you do get in a relationship, you don't want to make this person your all. You don't want to lose yourself. But yeah, I would definitely say parents, be more open to your youth, your children, and youth, listen to your parents, because they've been there, they've done that. Like, it's nothing new to be in a relationship. Um My second advice for culture, I would say definitely make sure that you know your culture. Um, African American history is American history, and sadly, they don't teach it in schools. So, I would say, especially since it's February, to learn it yourself. Um, excuse me, to learn it yourself. It is very important. I would say if I did not know my African American history, I would not be where I am right now, because knowing that someone set the way for me to be where I am today makes me push myself harder, and it makes me determined to go for the goal. Knowing that someone fought for this same problem makes me want to fight for the problem, sadly, that's still here, to make sure that it's eradicated. Um, it's like you need to know who came before you, um, what obstacles they went through, so you don't have to go through them again. And like when I was speaking to my dad, I was talking to him about the police system, and knowing your history, you would know that it is a system built upon white supremacy, and it also models the slave catcher system.
Mm-hmm.
So it is like knowing your history will just stop preventing a lot of things, because you will learn from the past and hopefully not implement those same thoughts and ideas into our systems and institutions today. Um, Also, it gives you, knowing your culture for yourself gives you confidence, because when someone is constantly showing you defeat, like for example, seeing your people killed every single day on the news, seeing someone like stereotype black girls or black men and black women is defeating, and it makes you feel like that you can't do anything and that you're just a stereotype and a statistic when you're not. So knowing your culture and your history shows you that I'm not a stereotype, I'm not a statistic. There's black inventors, black doctors, black lawyers, black dancers, black artists, educators, you name it. There's been people who've walked that path. And
Mm-hmm.
all that culture and the community wants to do is push you down and suppress you, which is why I feel like, personally, I believe that constantly when kids learn about Black history, they learn about slavery, they learn about oppression, because it's a mindset. It's like, if I'm learning about this and I'm learning about the pattern that happens, then it's like I am supposed to submit myself to you and submit myself to a system that oppresses me, when that's not true. There has
Mm-hmm.
been people that fought against this system and that have proven a system wrong time and time again. So just know your culture. It is very, very important. Um, Another thing that I would say, what is more advice that I would give? Oh, to be yourself. There is like an epidemic of unoriginality going on, and we do not need another Emma or another whoever. We do not need that. It can be very hard, especially when looking at social media and Instagram and things like that 24/7. It can be hard to want to be yourself and want to have originality, but it is okay to be yourself. You'll be free to do what you want, to live how you want to live when you be yourself. Um, and my last advice to you is to listen to your parents, listen to the authority in your life. Of course, unless they're telling you to do something bad, like to steal from a store or smoke a cigarette or something, don't
Mm-hmm.
listen. But they're there for a reason, and they are here to instruct us and to guide us. Don't take them for granted. I would say ask them the questions. I know everyone's not a Christian, but um the Bible tells us like wise people wise people ask questions. So every
Mm-hmm.
single person in the Bible that was wise asked questions. They never ever ever thought that they knew everything. Never. So I don't know if everyone is a Christian or not, but um so yeah, don't be a fool and think that you know everything because you don't. Um, I'm nervous, y'all. Sorry.
Well,
Um,
you're definitely doing a good job. You're doing a good job.
Another thing, my last thing, I don't know how much more time I have, but my last thing is to use your voice. A lot of times people um are scared to speak up about things. Speak up even if you are wrong. Someone will correct you later, but speak up and use your voice. Um it's just important for you to use your voice and raise awareness about whatever. You have the voice and you have the impact, so use it. Yeah, that's all the advice that I would give. Never give up, never be defeated. The road is long. It is a long road to like getting anywhere in life. So, but if you stay faithful, if you stay hopeful, you will see it in results. And I know, like I said, everyone is not Christian, but something that the devil will try to do is make you feel discouraged. And when you get
Hmm.
discouraged, you lose hope. And when you lose hope, you lose faith. So, really, really, really continue to stay prayerful, stay close to God. That is how you stay successful. I'm sorry, but people need to hear it. You stay
Hmm.
successful when you get closer to God. I'm telling you. God will order your
Amen.
steps and He will guide you in the way that you need to go. Pray, read your Bible, fast, do what you need to do, but staying closer to God, He literally will open doors for you. Sometimes He closes them, but it's always for a good reason. I'm telling you, stay faithful, stay prayerful, stay close to God, and be kind to people. The world needs more kindness.
Well, I definitely appreciate you, coming and giving your dad some of your time. Um, Me and your mom are definitely proud of you. You're definitely a great big sister towards your other sisters. And, hopefully we can interview you again and see how your journey's going in George Mason.
You're
But,
welcome.
you have a good evening. And like I said, I appreciate you coming. Keep up the good work. And I'm more than proud of you. You're an excellent example of a youth in today's society. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you. You too.
Bye bye. Well, that was Miss Amaiyah-Monet Bonnie Parker. Like I said, she's a high school senior at Central. She does community work with We Rain, Bolt. She named something else, and here with the Ethel Lee Zachary Foundation. Um, if you guys will tune in next week, but hold on, before we get to that, Amaya mentioned something about studying, and I wanted to give some information to parents in regards to that. So, um, Amaya's process through Central was it wasn't a cakewalk in the beginning. Central was um it's the number 2 high school in Philadelphia. So, in the orientation for the school, the principal, I believe the president of the school was like, "Hey, this won't be like middle school. Like getting a C at Central will be like getting an A at any other school." So the one thing that I noticed that a lot of students was lacking was study skills. So Amaya was definitely struggling in that area. And, being her parent, I felt as though that I could give her a tool that would definitely help her out in this area. Me presenting this to her was it was devastating to her because she thought I lost a lack of faith in her. She thought that I thought she was stupid, you know, things of that nature. But I had to explain to her, you're not stupid. I believe in you, but this is a tool to better help you, you know, throughout your academic career. So the name of this book is How to Become a Straight A Student. Excuse me. And it definitely, she just commented right here, the book works. It definitely gave her a different viewpoint in regards to studying, being organized, help preparing herself for tests and also preparing for college. So let me give you guys a bigger screenshot of that. So is How to Become a Straight A Student. I believe that says Gail Newport. I will be ordering a couple of copies of this for the foundation. So we'll be asking a couple of questions at the end of the show. And hopefully you guys can win yourself a copy for your student. So tune in with me next week, and we will be interviewing. Let me see here. Pastor Danette Ray. She is the pastor of Kingdom Life Christian Center, and we will be definitely exploring the topic with her of going from hood to holiness. She is a dynamic speaker. I've witnessed Pastor Ray at my church, Victory Christian Center, and I'm sure she will have a word for the community. Also, we want to give a birthday shout out to, well, hold on, before we get to that, we got a special shout out. Like Amaiyah said, don't be so fast to, continue education. Continue education. Actually, do that. What I'm saying is don't be so fast to just think that you can't because you've reached a certain milestone. This young lady right here, this is Miss Cavette Williams. This is a friend of mine's. She has today graduated and received her bachelor's from Temple University. She has a degree in, I believe, criminal justice. So I definitely didn't see it to be robbery to, give her a shout out, and also to encourage, other adults out there to continue school. Me and Cavette are around the same age. She has graduated from Temple. I'm currently in a master's program for psychology, to help better the community and the youth that we work with. So, like I said, it is never too late to do that. Now our birthday shout out. Here we go, right here. Is to this young lady right here, Miss Kayla Booker. Kayla's birthday is February the 8th. I swear, I hope that's right. She will be turning 13. So we here at the Ethel Lee Zachary Foundation want to just give her a tremendous shout out in regards to her entering the teenage process. So congratulations, Kayla. I call her Chocolate Shelby because she looks just like my aunt to me. She's a darker version of my Aunt Shelby. But we definitely love you and have a wonderful day on the 8th. One more shout out that we have is for our Scholar of the Month. Excuse me. And that is Miss, put this up here, Miss Shayla Travis. I can't read the text on there, no matter how strong these glasses are. But I'm gonna leave it up in case you guys can. Um, what I do remember from the bio is that Shayla goes to Hill Academic School or Academic World and Academy in Philadelphia. She has a GPA of 3.4. I'm pretty sure if that's not correct, her mom will be calling me to correct that. Um, no, that's not. That's enough for the book. We're trying to get that off of there. She is definitely into athletics. She does basketball, track and field, and I believe that says softball. And she is our February Scholar of the Month. So, congratulations to Shayla Travis. We are definitely proud of you and the accomplishments that you have done. And you're such an encouraging factor to youth your age and one's older than you, and one's younger because you are a trailblazer and you are showing these youth that, it's never too late, to up upload, well, not upload, but upgrade your performance academically so you can be definitely a better student. Um, we do this show weekly. I know we don't get a lot of hits on here, but it doesn't matter. I could just have one person or actually none. I would still come out and view this. And when I first did this, I wasn't really sure of how this whole thing works. Like I thought that the number that I see, because right now I'm looking at this screen, it has an eye there and it has a number next to it. So it talks. That's referring to the number of people watching. But sometimes when I go back, that number is greater. And I've had people, compliment me on the show and saying that they learned some things in regards to this. So I definitely, continue to do this because I think that a lot of people are learning information from this. You know what I mean? And it's a encouraging factor for people. You know what I mean? And it's a news source. So I definitely thank the people that do come out. Um, we do also ask if you would like to donate to this great cause. Our cash app is $ELZFDN. Excuse me. You don't have to give hundreds of dollars. Give something. Because we definitely need donations to keep this work going. So it's ELZFDN. Your money definitely goes towards the mission of this foundation. So thank you very much for that. Also, we have a parenting forum. It is on Facebook. See if I hurry up and try to get you guys the photo here. That's it right there. Excuse me. So this is our parenting forum. It's on Facebook. It's the ELZ Parenting Forum. We give out some insightful information in regards to parenting. We want you guys to be very encouraged in the work that you do as being a parent. It's definitely not easy work. It takes work to do this. You know what I mean? And you can't be no punk. Trust me. You can't be no punk being no parent because these kids will call you on it. You know what I mean? So if you feel as though that you need some more insight or some help in regards to being a better parent, please reach out to us and join the forum. Post, ask questions. It's very insightful. I try to cover a variety of topics, age groups, you know what I mean, just to, give people hope and aspiration that they're not the only one going through things in regards to the realm of parenting. But that's it for me, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I love you guys wholeheartedly. And I'm definitely trying to make sure I don't forget anything. So let me just do a once over. Like this. Yeah, so like I said, tune in next week and we will be interviewing Pastor Danette Ray. She is the pastor of Kingdom Life Christian Center, and that should be a very interesting conversation. But you guys have a wonderful evening. Thanks for coming out. God bless.